And it's so much fun being an adult. It's so great. You get to make choices. You get to have parties. You get to tell yourself what you're doing. I think a lot of times we glorify childhood. I know I do it. I glorify childhood. All these little precious beings, little precious ones. They're only going to be little once. We need to cherish every moment. And we do. And it is a really special time in life. You get to be there for the formative years, what is shaping and forming this unique individual. You are in a very honored position if you're their parent, as a parent or an aunt or even a friend of a child, right? That's their formative years. That's an adult forming. The child is just an adult forming, and you're in a really cool position to be part of that, right? But it's not the whole goal. I feel like a lot of times the goal of my life is to create whimsy for my children. And no, I'm an adult. I live my childhood. Like, childhood is a very small part of the whole experience of the human life. And I feel like we're a little out of balance with the idea, at least I am, the idea that the point of the adult life is to create fantasy and whimsy and happy times for the children. And it kind of is. Like, we do need to be, like, as adults raising children, we should raise them we should be involved in creating whimsy and fantasy and stuff. Sure, that's part of it. But the point of life, if the point of life is just to create children in order to create whimsy, again, it's like, I don't know. Adult life is a really long time. Childhood is really small compared to the rest of your life. So, well, I don't know. I mean, you could die at any minute. Maybe it's not. Statistically, I feel like statistically it is. Childhood's a really small part. And even adolescence, I would consider kind of getting out of childhood. It's when you're starting to become more of an adult. So if your whole life and focus is on childhood, it's such a small part, and you get really sad when you grow up and now you're not a child anymore. Childhood is a special time, but adulthood is the whole thing. That's the whole point of it. Now we get to be adults and do our things. Now we get to do the things we really wanted to do when we couldn't do as kids. And then we have kids. Now we can't do those things because now we have to raise our kids. But maybe we could raise our kids and still do the things we want to do. Our life doesn't need to be completely devoted to kids. I mean, they take up a significant portion for sure, but adulthood also should be a special time, and there's privileges allotted to adults that children don't have. And so, I don't know. I'm going through these things as I'm raising my kids and realizing how things are, and it's just, I want to give my kids more. I don't want them to grow and feel like their whole thing they have to do is just raise kids and create good experiences for their kids. And that's the whole point of it. And that's the only thing that's worthwhile of doing. I think there are plenty of other things to do. I mean, we're adults. This is what we get to do stuff now. I don't know. I just creating a life that you want to do, but with your kids, and then they can create the life they want to do later. You give them the tools that they can create life for themselves that they want, but also keeping a balance and not losing focus and not losing sight of what you also want to do. And I think this is a message to myself because I definitely lose sight of what I want to do in regards to my kids and what they want to do. I love them and I want them to have all the experiences that they want, right? But I also need to teach them that as adults, they will get to choose. And so I need to show that and model that with my behavior and show how I'm choosing to do cool things that I like to do too. Have a balance so that way they can grow up and also do that. But also raising the kids to be happy. I mean, giving them good experiences. And I think part of our culture is whimsy, and we like that, and I think that's totally appropriate and fun and fine, and why not? Like, if we have the resources to do whimsy, we all like it, we should do it to it a bit. But also keeping in mind the balance and doing other things. I think teaching how to be an effective adult, or how to be a happy adult, and what you do as an adult to create happiness as a way to model that for the kids. But could they figure it out on their own if you were not able to do that? Yeah. Every adult is also like a fully actualized being, like a full adult being. You're responsible for your own happiness. If your parents did something that wasn't ideal, well, that's just life. Like, that's just how it is for, I think, everyone. Most parents are not ideal, or at least most parents are not ideal. So we're still responsible to seek after and find ways of creating our own life and happiness. And our children are responsible for that as well. And so, I don't know, doing our best, but also realizing that the adult years really are the thing. The whole point of it is to be an existing being, a sovereign, free, existing being. That's like the whole thing. And you're not sovereign or free as a child. Sovereignty and freedom is really what everyone's ultimately after, I would say, even to the point of losing luxuries or even losing your life, give me liberty or give me death. I think sovereignty and freedom are so important to the adult human, to all humans. Even children are craving that too, aren't they? They just want sovereignty and freedom to choose their own life. They're just too little to know all the ramifications of their actions yet. So that's why we say 18, because under 18, society's complex. It's too complex to fully understand. And even for us, like, we don't fully understand all of our actions too. But like, at some point, you do have to just say, well, you have enough. But we just said 18, and that's when you have pretty much enough to be considered someone who's capable of making choices for themselves, given the full load responsibility of your actions on your shoulders. And it's a small amount at first. It's like, oh, you basically just have to keep yourself fed, clothed, and sheltered. And if you can do that effectively, like if you can do that, you're an adult. And if you can't do that, then you're probably going to die. Like, that's just the ruthlessness of life. When people say the universe is unfeeling or uncaring, or I think it's ruthless. It's not that the universe is uncaring or unfeeling. The universe, I believe, is feeling and conscious, but it's ruthless. It's just matter of fact. It's just what it is. You weren't fit to survive. You didn't survive. That's just how it went. But still, love is there. I think you can have love and be ruthless. But being ruthless is somewhat important. Ruthless, not cruel. Cruelty is different. The universe is not cruel. It's not intentionally like harming. Like, it's not sadistic. Maybe parts of the universe are sadistic and parts of the universe are altruistic. But I do believe that on our little pocket of the universe here, we have all those things. But I believe that ruthlessness is not cruel, and ruthlessness is just a state of being where your acts can have power. And maybe it's just the natural state of being of all things, and that's why it does have powers, because that's just how life is. All beings are ruthless. It's just the matter-of-fact doings of what's going on here in the day.